Hey guys, it's Joe. Welcome to Hour of Twilight. This is the third in the 3 new 5-mans in patch 4.3. This is on the PTR. I realize I haven't done the second dungeon, which is Well of Eternity, simply because it's not available right now. So this is the newest one that was available. It just came to be available last night in the new build, so I wanted to bring this to you as soon as possible. This will not be as cut down as my previous one for end time, simply because this is there hasn't been too many of these videos for this dungeon out yet, so I figure I'd give you guys a little bigger peek at it. The trash isn't anything spectacular, so there's not a whole lot to say about it. You can see here we are in Dragonblight. We are making our way to Wyrmrest Temple. We're having to escort Thrall to Wyrmrest to meet with the other dragon aspects with the dragon soul. We do have that in our possession now. You gain that in Well of Eternity, so I will bring that to you as soon as I can, whenever it's made available. If things go the way the PTR has been going, there'll be about a week of this particular dungeon, and then Well of Eternity will come to pass after that, and hopefully the raid will come after that, and I'll definitely be bringing you all that coverage as much as I can. So anyway, again, this trash, there's not a whole lot to it. There's not a lot of mechanics to it. It's basically just tank its mana as always. There's a few things here and there. You can see those ice spikes came up on random players at times, and they did mark, on the ground where they were going to drop some rocks, or not ice, I should say, not rocks. So, but other than that, there's not much to it. So, again, here's some more of the trash. Now, I'll go on to talking about the dungeon in general. It's not incredibly difficult. Again, I think this is something that we're going to see a trend of. You're going to hear a lot about this. I felt this one was a little more difficult than End Time in some aspects, because the mechanics weren't quite as obvious, and of course, this was the first time I think all of us probably did this, so we weren't totally aware of all the mechanics either. So that could have skewed my point of view on it, but at any rate, these are very easy dungeons when you consider they're giving 378 loot. Let's put it in perspective. When you do regular heroics, you have to have a minimum eye level, I believe, of 329, and the gear you're getting is like 346. If you up it to the next tier, which is ZAZG, you're looking at, you have to have 346 eye level, and you get 353 blues, or purples, excuse me. So yeah, I mean, you have to have a certain eye level to get that type of gear. So if you're getting 378s out of here, you should have to maybe be like 370 eye level or 365 eye level, but I brought my lower level tunes over, and the requirement so far, unless they change it, is only 346, which would be incredibly challenging for those people at that eye level. So I guess it just depends on your gear and your perspective on in terms of difficulty. Anyway, this is Arcurion. He is, at this point in this phase, he's just dropping the ice. As you can see, he's marking the ground. Now, he does have Thrall encased, and you do have to break him out to help you out, to continue to help you out, I should say. And he frost-trapped a few of us there in the process. Basically, the falling debris is the main part of this fight initially, and then when he gets down to 30%, here it is right here, he's going to unleash a devastating torrent of frost. And that's going to be, it's nasty, it really is. In terms of a healer, you can see I was struggling to keep everybody up. You really want to make sure you blow cooldowns on that and nuke him through that, because that damage is quite extensive. It also reduces your movement speed. They're ice bolts, so you've got that component to deal with as well. So when he gets down to 30%, that's when you really want to blow on him. Blow on him. You want to nuke him down at that point. So, anyway, so here we go. Thrall is switching to his Ghost Wolf, and we're going to do a little traveling here. Now, I don't understand why there's so much traveling at this point with no trash at all. You'll see there's a bit of a distance that will go, and there's nothing happening. It's kind of strange. Now, I guess in perspective, when you look back at Caverns of Time, Escape from Durnhold, the same thing happened after the second boss in that one, where you're going to travel a little bit towards Terran Mill. And so I guess you can look at it from that perspective. It just seems a little early in this dungeon to be doing it after the first boss, but hey. Anyway, there's also the gear that I have highlighted that dropped off of him. I just went ahead and showed that real quick. If you want to go back and you can pause that and take a look at it. It was strength gear, if I remember right. So yeah, we continue to kind of travel along here. And this is where I had to cut this a little bit for time. And I guess I could have cut some of that travel, but I wanted to kind of show you. I think that might change. I don't know if they'll leave that much travel time without any trash, so I kind of thought, if nothing else, for archival footage, we'll just go back and say, how much this has changed since it went live. But this trash was interesting. I was really having a hard time keeping the tank alive, and I couldn't figure out why. You see the big totem that's being placed down. Here's another one. Those are being placed down by Thrall, and they give you a buff that increases your health and the damage dealt. This trash is pretty nasty if you don't use those, so you want to stand near those totems if you can. It's very helpful, and especially you saw for a moment there he had 2 down, and if you do get in both of them where they do kind of overlap, you're going to get the benefit of both of them, so it's going to double, triple, whatever. So as you can see in party, I finally kind of had a light bulb moment. I was like, okay, stay in the totems, stay around the totem. You can see, I'm struggling a little bit with the tank here, and then when we get into the totem here, everything gets a little bit more copacetic. So, yeah, definitely use that mechanic. It was unknown to us initially. The tank ran in and, was way far away from all of us, and I usually can catch up on healing if I have to, if he gets out of range like that, but there was no catching up. There's no leeway on these without having those totems. So again, those totems are extremely important. So alright, so we're getting close to the next boss, and you're gonna see a little RP and stuff in this section, especially a little bit more trash here. Basically we're gonna go here and we're gonna hang out and we're gonna wait for the dragon aspects to come pick us up, and you'll see what happens after that. So again, lots of trash. It's a short dungeon, really, honestly, guys. This dungeon run probably took about 20 minutes total, so I had to cut it down to the 15 that I have available on YouTube, but most of that was because we didn't understand what we were doing. You could probably, once you get this down, especially as time goes on, you're going to be blasting through this in 10-15 minutes easily, which is about on par with what End Time was. So, in a lot of ways, these definitely do remind me of the ICC 5-mans that came out. There wasn't really a whole lot to those, and it wasn't a tremendous challenge. Halls of Reflection definitely was, depending on the group that you got. The healing and dispelling and everything through the first section, but I would say that was the only one that was of any kind of challenge at all of those. So I was kind of expecting that out of this particular dungeon, but yeah, except for the adhering to the mechanics, which we didn't know, and having to heal through that, this wasn't really particularly difficult. Alright, here's the second boss, Ysira Dawnslayer. Now she has a nasty mechanic, which you can see on me. She silences. She marks enemy spellcasters, and when you cast a spell, once you're marked, if you cast a spell, she throws a knife at you, which does damage and silences you. I didn't really understand how to solve that, so I just kind of dealt with it. There's the choking smoke bomb. You can see the red. You want to stay out of that. It's a 10-yard radius. So, and let's see, she's going to do a blade barrier as well, which is an incoming damage of 3,000, sorry, 30,000. It's reduced to 1. Effect ends when the caster is hit by damaging attack or spell above this threshold, cast at low health. So, yeah, I didn't really deal with that, obviously. So, and she has a lesser blade barrier as well. But Thrall's helping you throughout this fight. As you can see, he's got his molten lava burst that he's throwing. And he's got his fire totem, so he's got that going on. He even has a healing wave, which heals himself. Now, here we are he's still throwing those totems out again, and we're getting that debuff. So that's extremely helpful. Again, that I'm telling you, that makes a ton of difference. But overall, this fight's not that difficult. The silencing thing, I'm not sure if there's a resolution to that. I didn't see that there was. I looked at the strategies, or at least what little is out there, and I didn't see anything at this point. Being that it is this new, I'm not surprised that there isn't much out there to help with that, but anyway, I did have to cut out some of the travel time here, so simply because of time. Basically, Thrall's going to go over there and res that dragon that she killed on the way in. He was coming to pick us up, and she killed him. And then he takes off on that dragon after he reses it, and then we get 4 more dragons come and pick us up, and they drop us off here, which is at the Path of the Titans, right at Wyrmrest Temple. And now we're dealing with old god type ads here, faceless ones, tentacles, pretty typical old god stuff. Human sacrifices, dogs and cats, mass hysteria. Sorry. But anyway, so I mean, again, this trash there's nothing really to it at all in this case. There's I don't even remember any kind of mechanic to these at all. So it's not a big deal that I cut some of it out. Now, this is one thing for sure. Do not forget to talk to Thrall every once in a while. He will stop and he will wait for you, and you will have to talk to him to get going. Our group was continually forgetting that, and I had to pick him up. Now, in this case, he was actually just waiting to RP with the last boss, which is Archbishop Benedictus. And Mr. Benedictus is a good guy right now, and he's going to protect us. He's going to throw us in here to Wyrmrest Temple, put up a barrier, and protect us. But, unfortunately, he and Thrall are going to speak here in a moment, and it's going to turn for the worse. And he wants the dragon soul. Obviously, we can't give him that. We kind of need that for Deathwing. So, we're going to have to fight him, because he's going to be persistent. Yeah, this fight was probably the most difficult, because there is a lot to look for. He's going to summon orbs in the air. They will hit a random player. He will do a, let's see, what is it called? A righteous shear, which is going to be basically a big wave of holy light. You're going to have to move out of the way of that. But it doesn't really get interesting until he gets down to about 60%. And he's going to show his true form, and he's going to be, show himself to be Twilight's hammer, and he's going to have some area effect on the ground, some void zones essentially. He's going to do another shear, which is going to be a Twilight shear. It's just going to be a purple version of that. And he's got Thrall, as you can see, he's got him all tied up, and so he can't help us at the moment. Anyway, guys, yeah, there is some damage going on that I did have to deal with. I think a lot of people didn't know all the mechanics, so they were standing and stuff, and they certainly got hit by the shears, and I had to kind of deal with that. But anyway, alright, well, that is Hour of Twilight, guys. Sorry to cut it short, but I did have to adhere to the 15-minute limitation I have on YouTube. Definitely will get you Well of Eternity as soon as I can, and definitely will get you Dragon Soul as soon as I can. But I wanted to throw this out to you guys. This is, as far as I know, some of the earlier footage that has been put out there of this particular dungeon. So, alright, thanks guys. As always, take care of yourselves.